Well, good morning, people. So, I haven't been around much, and that's mainly because of the weather that's been pretty awful in the UK. So, I was thinking about things I could do while the weather was bad. Indoor stuff, really. Uh, there's always flying these little toy quads, but I fancy something a bit different. So, any excuse, I went to the HobbyKing site and bought one of these. It's a little 1/24 mini crawler. And in the box, you get the crawler thing, which is teeny tiny and looks like this, and has amazing amounts of movement on each of the wheels and suspension and governs like that. You also get the controller, which is one of these little trigger things with a wheel, and inside here it's got some trims and little mode changes you could do. And to power that, I bought some of these little Rhino 360 milliamp 2-cell batteries. So why the crawler? I've experimented around with RC cars with FPV before, but I wanted something that was A, very small, and B, it didn't rush around all over the place. I like the idea of the crawlers because you can pretty much set out a really small but technical course and try and get them over things. Of course, doing that via FPV might be very tricky, but at the same time, this is great fun just to play around with, indoors or out. Let's see some footage of that right now. So I'm in my lounge here, and here's a course I literally knocked up with stuff that was lying around, which was some DVDs and cases, a lap tray, summer sofas, stacking cups, and some board games. And that's about it. Basically, you can just pile this up in some sort of arrangement and challenge yourself to see if you can get over or get back without flipping up or falling off, which is good fun. Again, in terms of FPV, it could be pretty tricky. And here's outside. It was actually quite a nice day today, although I wasn't able to fly. It just eats up stuff, so it's able to go across grass, although the grass in this case looks like it's sort of 6 foot in scale. Again, this is just easy stuff, just rocks and stuff, little stones. But stuff like a tree stump, I think, makes a really fun thing to try and balance on and climb up and go back down again. This sort of stuff looks much more doable for FPV if we can get the angle of the camera right. Now here's a slightly more interesting thing, as I was obviously quite stuck here, and the way I rescued it was actually switching the modes. I went over to mode 4, which is able to steer with both wheels, and this allowed me to get a little bit more grip in the right places to get my wheels round and out. Here's a bit more about the modes we got.
It's mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4.
So I spent some time messing with it and generally driving it around, and I think it's a lot of fun, and it's quite tough. It's gone over loads of times. This is some sort of aluminium or something, so it's pretty strong. They just roll off and go again. Downside, yes, the battery bay. It's underneath, which is not so bad, and it's got these little tabs that you get in other cars and planes, but they are so hard and fiddly to get in and out. You can't do it with hand. You have to use a screwdriver or something to get them out, and then similar hardships to get them in. It is a waterproof thing, but you'd think it could be better. There's no problem getting the battery in. It's just putting the
the stuff back in. Okay, new battery back in. Try and put this back on. This is where it gets fiddly.
So I'll spare you the thought of watching me try and replace all of these, but suffice to say it's quite fiddly, and especially if your thumbs are normal human size, it takes quite a while and could be better, I think. So what's next? So part 2 of the video, I'm going to try and FPV it. I mean, you've seen that you really need to keep an eye on all the wheels because you could have it all over the place. So what I'm intending to do is use an Amway 5.8 to fit somewhere on here. The reason I'm using that is it's got a 5-volt out, which will power this little camera. This I reviewed before. It's the one that's got a really, really wide angle, which tends to distort if you're flying. But if mounted here, I'm figuring it should be able to, hopefully, maybe up higher, see the front wheels and where they're going, which in FPV could help me out. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to do it on part 2. As I have to make a bunch of stuff and probably a mount to go on it. But for now, see you later.